Hey, welcome. We're getting ready to do a little demonstration here of Tui Na bodywork style. And we're going to begin with some simple basics. And then we're going to go down to the feet and do a concentrated uh, session on the feet for the last 15 or 20 minutes. So this will maybe be about 30 to 45 minutes in total. And what we're going to do is going to be good for almost any symptoms that we have. Um, like migraines, pain anywhere in the body, joint pain, things like that. This can help with a broad range of our experience. And it's also just a nice way to connect with a partner or a friend. So, before we get started, we're going to remember that the number one master key to pain relief is our breath, purging breath all the way out. So, we're going to breathe into the nose silently and all the way out, open mouth. Helping encourage the person we're with to do the same by our example. And for those of you that are watching this, maybe you're watching on YouTube, um, know that I've got friends that are following along here, and I'm just going to mute their mic for now, so that way um, you can unmute your mic if there's anything that you want to say to me or ask me or anything like that. And this way you can feel free to breathe and release your purging breath over there on your end without feeling like you're being on the recording here. So before we actually get started, since this is for people who are new, I want to make sure that you're actually properly ready to do this with your wrists and your hands. So just for a minute or two together, go ahead and follow what I'm doing here, and keeping your shoulders relaxed and your elbows relaxed. We're going to take our hands and we're going to go like this. So I'm just going side to side with my wrists. And I'm remembering my purging breath into my nose silently and out of my mouth. And then after about maybe 12 or so of those, 24 of those maybe, relax our hands down. And we're going to come back up and go this way. Maybe 12 or 24 of these, something like that. And relax that. And then one more, we're going to breathe in and we're going to go. About 12 of those or however many we feel. And ideally, I want you to be doing those on a daily basis to make sure that your hands are really in good shape before you do too much of this type of work. But if you're just doing this with your friend, your partner, to help them feel better, you can just do some of that before you get started. And it will help you to not hurt your hands while you're doing this. So real quick, I'm just going to check in with my friends on the other side. Can you guys still hear me? Everything good?
Yep, we're all good over here.
Awesome. I'm going to mute your mic then again. If you need to, you can unmute it. Okay, so we're going to get started. And before we actually engage with the other person, of course, we want to make sure that we're good in ourselves, right? So let's take say 3 good breaths to ourselves. If we need to use purging breath, we can go into the nose silently always. And then out of the mouth. Or for not feeling any tension, we can do balanced breath into the nose silently. And out of the nose, not pushing it out. After about 3 breaths, we set an intention. To be of service, to help our friend feel better. And then when we're ready on our next breath in, we get into a position here, maybe like I am, with my knee bent, so I can get in over here, and I'm going to do what's called clearing the smoke. I'm acknowledging that there's more than just a physical body here. We'll do this a few times. Remembering our own breath, and anytime we need to, we can use a purging breath, exhale. It'll help us to not hold any tension while we're doing this work. And now I'm going to come to the sacrum, and I'm going to use both hands, being mindful of the points on the inside of both palms as I breathe into my nose. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to place both hands down on the sides of the hips, so that with my 2 hands here, I'm draped all the way from the side of the hip to the other side of the hip and contacting the sacrum on both sides. Just gently rocking back and forth. Maybe do a few purging breaths here. And I sort of just move my hands as I feel I'm being guided to move them by the sway of the hips themselves. Feeling like rather than pushing and pulling back and forth, I'm here guiding the momentum that's there, that is of its own accord. And then I'll take my left hand, which I'm on the left side here, starting on the left side of the body. So I've got my left hand on the left hip. And then I take my right hand and I'll just go up the spine here. There's multiple ways to do it. We can just hold the hand above the spine like that. I also like to use my fingers and really get into each of the vertebrae here, sort of back and forth like that, if that makes sense. And this is something we can do for a long time. We can do this for 15, 20 minutes or even longer. And one thing I like to do is contralateral sweeping. So I'll take my right hand and go along the right shoulder, back shoulder blade, and then come down the right arm, the back of the triceps here, down the elbow, and then down out the wrist and pull energy out like that on the right arm. And then I'll come right down, right after that, down the left hip, Go down the left leg, outside of the leg, go down the outside of the knee, and then pull it out the ankles. And then come back up and go to the right lower leg or right leg. Come down the hip, down the right lower leg, and out of the ankles. And then come back, and now we go to the left arm. Just like that. And when I do that, I'm sweeping, I'm contacting the skin. I'm not sheepish about touching, and I'm not trying to just only graze the top layer. I'm getting in there and sort of going as what feels good, if that makes sense. And then you can come over here and you can take one hand and place it about the level of the sits bones where the top of the hamstring is. And I'm rocking back and forth now this leg. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back. So you see, I'm rocking the leg, the right leg, and the rest of the body's moving as well. I've got my left hand at the sits bone. The right hand is going down the back of the leg, down the hamstring. Now my right hand is on the back of the knee. And I'm putting my weight, I'm putting a little bit of pressure into the legs here. Now I'm going to the top of the calves, the back of the lower leg, down to the Achilles heel. Put a lot of pressure in the Achilles heel there, down to the heel usually. Sometimes it can be very tight, so be careful. And then pull the energy out of the heel. And we can do the same thing on this leg right here. It can be good to use fist. Put the fist in. Of course, we want to connect with our partner and what pressure, what level they want, what feels good to them. A good question to ask them is, let me know if you'd like it lighter or deeper. I'm just continuing down with one hand on the sits bones here, and the other hand's going down the back of the leg. Pull the energy out of the back of the heel. And then come back up to the sacrum. And now what I'm going to do is just take a minute to sort of let this rocking come to a close. So my touch is becoming lighter and lighter, less and less. And eventually, after about a minute or so, we'll be in stillness. Oh, that's a nice space that we can stay in for as much time as we feel, and it's good. But we're going to continue on with this tutorial video here. And there are other videos that show the basics of Tui Na, where I do the rocking and then go on to tapping and sweeping. So I'll let you check those out. What we're going to do now is we're going to go down to work on the feet. Nice to make sure that they're tucked in up here before we go. All right, so taking a moment to get ourselves comfortable and reminding them to just relax their legs and their feet, and that we'll do all the work for them. Reminding us to take a nice breath all the way out, open mouth if we need to. Now, we're going to do this starting face down here, working on the feet. And there's definitely a lot to do face up working on the feet, so that might be a whole separate video. Whereas this is just a nice simple protocol if you have a friend or a partner that say they come home from a day of work that was a typical tough day of work and they're really just needing to relax. Well, it's nice to be face down. That helps us to relax. So we start out with just a little gentle rocking like you showed you. And then we come down to the feet like this. And what I'm doing now is I'm taking both hands and I'm placing them over the back of the heels. And I'm just letting the weight of my hands weigh down the heels and lengthen the Achilles tendon. I'm going to take a few breaths here. Simply by having our hands down at the feet, it helps the person to have their attention far away from their head, which is where the energy and attention is stuck when we have things like headaches, migraines, nausea, etc. Many different things. So just by placing our hands on the feet with nice, relaxed, calm pressure, sort of the weight of our hands. Is that comfy for you?
Yeah, can you even out the ground where my feet are resting?
Make sure it's comfy for them primarily. Is that better?
Is it even under both feet?
Roughly.
Okay.
So continuing just placing our hands on the back of the heels, lengthening the Achilles heel. If we feel like we want, we can sort of grasp onto the heel, like I'm palming the whole heel on both feet now. And I'm squeezing them with my thumb and my middle and first fingers, and my ring finger a bit too. And my pinky's just kind of over there on the side. But I'm grasping the heel now with my hand, both hands, both heels. And I'm pulling the heel back toward me. Really lengthening that Achilles heel tendon. Now, when I'm ready, I'm going to start from the heel, and I'm going to just squeeze both sides of the feet and walk my hands down, walk my fingers down both sides of the feet, all the way until I get down to the pinky toes. I'm going to come down and squeeze the pinky toes. And these can be, firm squeezes, depending on how your partner likes it. Just finding that just right amount. I'm just squeezing the pinky toe here. Now I'm going to pull off, like pulling the energy out of the pinky toes, like that. And now I'm coming back and now I'm squeezing the fourth toes. So the toe that's next to the pinky toe. And when I say I'm squeezing it, I'm dynamically squeezing it. So I'm squeezing onto the knuckles, and I'm moving them around. I'm wiggling the toes a bit, moving them all different directions slowly with a nice firm grasp.
Is it wrong to pull a little bit also?
Pulling is fine. Pull the toe, and when that's a great question. When we say if we're using our pressure, we're going to feel how the other person's responding to it. And if they start to respond, like tense up a little bit, that's how we know that, we're going too deep, or we're doing too much. So if you're pulling on the toes and there's no tension response from your partner, then you know that they're not tensing up. They're not, they're probably enjoying it, So, yes, pulling the toes, it's like, I just pulled out the pinky toe and got a nice pop, nice pop of the toe. So, yeah, that's your question.
Yes, 10-4. Thank you.
Good. Okay, so, and now I'm sort of pulling off both the fourth toes now, pulling the energy out. Do this 2 or 3 times. And now I'll move over to the middle toe. Same thing. I start down at the base of the toe, and I squeeze it from all angles for about a breath or so each squeeze. And bend the toe in all different directions, side bending it in a way that it feels very secure, and it knows that it's not going to be hurt, it's not going to be injured by you. So it's able to relax, and it's able to go to the end of its range of motion to the side and relax there. And then bring it over to the other side. And don't be afraid to move the whole foot. If you move the whole foot and then move the whole leg with only holding on to the toe, that's okay. Doing it carefully and doing it slowly. So I'm going back to the other range of motion, and now I'm gonna take the toe and I'm gonna go another way. There's 360 degrees probably that it could go, so pick a few different directions, 3, 4, 5 different directions, whatever you're feeling. Get the toe moving. Normally I would not be talking at all through any of this, so I'm going to do my best to describe what I'm doing here. When we're holding the toes, understand that these are the reflexology points for the brain. So when we're up in our head and we're thinking a lot, simply holding the toes like this and squeezing them, whatever we're going to do, is going to really help the mind to relax, the brain to relax. If you think of it in terms of it's the farthest point physically away from our head, and wherever our attention goes is where energy will flow to. So if there's energy that's stuck up in the head or even in the belly, digestion problems, feet are also great to work on for that, because it will help the energy to descend. Okay, so here we are now, pulling out the middle toes a bit. Pull them out a few times. And now I'm going to go over to the second toe, the one that's next to the big toe. And same thing, starting from the base of the toe. Just going to squeeze it and start going through some range of motion with it. So I'm going to pull it toward me a bit and then send it into deep flexion. And I've got my first finger and my middle finger are at the base of the toe, and then my thumb is on the other side of it at the base of the toe, and they're squeezing all three together at the base of the toe on each foot as I flex that toe. Pull it off if you feel the need to, and come back and go a different direction. Now I'm going to go to the side. I'm going to go in with both feet here. I got my fingers at the base of the second toe here, and I'm laterally flexing the toes inside toward each other. So each big toe is going toward the other big toe. And that's along with the second toe right next to the big toe. And then after a breath or so there, I go the other way. And now I'm going to evert the feet, send them out. And I'm holding on to the second toe while I do this. Still there at the base of that second toe. I'm just going to hold it here for a breath or two, beat or so, and I'm going to come back. Bring the feet back into alignment and pull off that second toe a few times. Now we're going to go to the big toe. And the big toe, we're going to spend a little bit more time. We're going to really get it from both angles here. And if you could see me down here, if I had a camera crew, I'm just going to describe it to you so you can do this yourself. I'm hooking my hand around the big toe, and I'm really grabbing it with my thumb and all my fingers. So I'm just really grabbing it all the way from the base and squeezing the whole big toe with my hand, on both hands. And because of the way I'm sitting, just when I squeeze the big toe, they're going in toward each other a little bit. They're laterally flexing in toward each other a little bit. And now I'm taking my hands back off, and I'm, rather than squeezing the entire toe, I'm just working through it sort of however I feel. Just kind of freestyling it is the point. Freestyle it on the big toe. Just squeeze it, rotate it around, bend it out to one side to the other. And going with your breath, so that way you don't go through all these motions quickly. We go one at a time. So if I want to take the big toe and open it out 90 degrees this way and then press it down, I'm going to do that one move for a whole breath cycle or two or more. And then after a breath cycle or so, on the next breath in, I'll move into another position. Hold it. Let the weight of my hands be the main force, not having to use too much force. Okay, so go ahead, and because the big toe is the big toe, now I want to take just a minute here and work again with the big toe, except I want you to find a way to get into that joint that is at the base of the big toe, that the ball of the big toe right there. And maybe taking your thumb, and while you have the palm of your hand and your fingers sort of wrapped around the big toe itself, then you can have your thumb sort of massaging into the ball of the big toe, the ball of the foot there. And just going with whatever your partner is asking for at that point. They might be asking for some massage all around that ball of the foot. And after maybe a few breaths, paying attention to the ball of the foot there, we now take a few turns pulling the big toe out here. So just pull the energy out of both sides of the big toe, the medial side and the lateral side. And now what we can do, we've got them face down, so the bottom of the feet are facing up to me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take both of my fists and just put the weight of my fists with the weight of my upper body here into the bottom of the feet. And I've actually got my middle finger knuckle is almost in the center of the bottom of the feet, a little bit higher up toward the toes than that. And I'm just resting the weight of my upper body and my fists into the bottom of the feet here. And let's just stay here for a few breaths. If you're the person that's doing the work here, remembering when we do our breaths to breathe in silently into the nose. And on our breath out, if we need to, we can open our mouth, exhale. but always send the crown of our head up and a little bit back. Help us have our best posture we can have while we're doing this. Really feeling that connection of the fist, the knuckles with the bottom of the feet. Of course, going with what your partner is feeling open to receive. That might be too much, and they just might want to use the palm of your hand instead of the fist. Always ask them if they would like lighter or deeper pressure. Okay, and after a few breaths here, it's another thing that we could just hold for a long time. It just feels really good by itself, and it's easy for you to give. But we're going to move on. So here, especially if our partner has any digestive issues, the bottoms of the feet, like the more posterior portion of the back of the foot here, on the bottom of the feet, so right under the heels, these are some really good points for digestion, intestines, and so forth. So I'm actually going ahead here and pushing my fists in, sort of one at a time. I'm going from the right, bottom of the heel, pushing in, seeing how much she wants to receive, feeling it out, and then going back to the other side, to the left heel, and sinking in. Think of sinking in to the muscle. And if you feel any resistance or tension from them, that's how you know that you need to go back and do a little bit less. So after a few breaths there on the heels, we're going to keep moving on. Try to keep this to about a 30-minute video or 45 minutes maybe. Now, all we've done so far is just go through each of the toes, and then from the top of the anterior portion of the bottom of the foot to the posterior portion of the bottom of the foot. Now what I'm going to do on both feet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the right foot and I'm going to just pick it up and hold it in my left hand. So it's just lying here in my left hand, and I'm holding the front of the ankle in my left hand, and my fingers are around back. They meet right around the Achilles tendon. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the foot and I'm going to send it all the way over here, evert it over to this side, and hold it everted open like that, pressing lightly, gently, and increasing my pressure until I feel that it's the just right pressure. For about a breath or two here. And now I'm going to go over to the other side. I'm going to send it over to this side. So I started out, I just sent it over this way. And now I'll go over this way. Each way for about a breath or two. You can see how I'm holding it here. I've got one hand behind the heel, one hand up at the toes. Just going like this. We're going slowly and steadily through the range of motion. And we're holding it at the end range of the range of motion, and in a position where if they were to land funny on their foot like this, it could hurt them. So they're in a sort of compromised position here. However, we're in a position where we're able to relax into this and actually sort of strengthen ourselves and stretch a little bit more in this position now. And the partner, if they have energy for it, they might want to move their leg and kind of increase the stretch or increase the contraction and work against me, which is all great. And they can work that stuff out and then take a breath out and then get a really good stretch. So feel that out yourselves. But the idea is we just simply, we secure the foot and then we open it to one side and then we go to the other side for at least a breath cycle each side. Yeah, you want to move it? Yeah, so she wants to go like this. Go ahead. So she's working herself, and I'm pushing against her now. She's having to do work. Good job. Good job. Now I'm really pushing against her. She's really strengthening her ankle right now, the front of her foot. And by doing that contraction of those tendons and muscles, she's going to get a much better stretch with them here in a minute. Good job. Good job. See, and now she's plantar flexing her foot. She's doing the opposite, and she's getting a nice stretch of all that stuff in the front of her foot, top of the foot that can get so tight a lot of times. Good job. Okay, so that was a great example. So all we did there is we went this way for a breath cycle or 2 or 3 or more, and then this way. Same thing. And now we're going to, well, normally I would just do dorsiflexion of the foot. Same way. And here we can really lengthen the Achilles tendon. We can get in here with our fingers and squeeze it a little bit to help it relax and release. And then when they're after a breath cycle or 2, we're going to go to plantar flexion. Here we want to squeeze that Achilles again too, because it's contracting now, so we can squeeze it to help it relax while it's contracting even. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on the other foot. Same thing on the other foot, encouraging your partner if they feel they want to move any way they can. I'm just going to go out. I'm going to hold it here for a breath cycle or so. Here I've got my right hand wrapped around the back of the ankle here so that my palm is directly over the Achilles tendon. My first and my middle fingers are over the lateral malleolus of the ankle, the outside of the ankle bone. And my thumb is on the inside of the ankle bone. And my left hand is up at the top of it's on the side of the big toe, pressing, everting the foot like this. And again, she's in a position that if she walked down the stairs and landed like this, it would be really a sprained ankle or something. But now she's able to relax into it, and we're feeling the end range motion of the tendons and the ligaments and everything like that. We're breathing through it, and then we come back to the other side. We always stop in the middle and then go to the other side. Same idea the other way. It's really not complicated. Can't really go wrong when you're doing this foot massage. It's pretty hard to mess up. So then we're going to go into dorsiflexion. Remember to, there you go. and then this is a good opportunity to work the Achilles tendon. I'm getting in there pretty deep with my right fingers here, my right hand. Squeezing that Achilles tendon right down at the attachment site where it attaches to the ankle here, or the heel. Helping that Achilles tendon to lengthen. Okay, now we'll go into plantar flexion. Squeeze those toes like that. You can squeeze all the toes with the hand like that. Always squeeze the heel, squeezing that Achilles tendon that was just stretched. Now it's working. So about a breath cycle or two there. Okay. So now we're going to come back up to the center, to the sacrum, where we started. Okay, we're already over 45 minutes, so I thought we were about there. So this was a basic foot massage that you can do for a friend or a partner anytime. Will help with many, many different symptoms. Will help to improve your connection and your give you something to do together. And remember, it's always nice to come back here and just some gentle hands right on top of the sacrum here. We can end with just a few breaths here together, balancing breaths into the nose and out of the nose. Okay, wow. Thank you for being here, and it's a good time now. You can thank your partner for allowing you to have this moment together, and we're going to go ahead and end this live stream, but I did want to check in with my friends on the other side there and see how you're feeling and how you're doing.
There we go. Okay, start with Joji.
Feeling great.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Sounds very relaxed, and that was nice. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, I'll let you two enjoy it. So have a good rest of your night, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very
too.
much.
All right, we'll check in. I'll check in with you soon, all right?
Okay,
Sounds
10-4.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye for now.